Andrea Yates was born on July 2, 1964, in Houston, Texas. She was raised in a Roman Catholic family and experienced what many described as a stable and happy childhood. From an early age, Andrea showed discipline and intelligence. She excelled academically and graduated as the valedictorian of her high school class. She was physically active, jogging and swimming regularly, and appeared outwardly healthy and motivated. After graduating from Milby High School in 1982, Andrea pursued higher education, attending both the University of Houston and the University of Texas at Houston. She chose nursing as her field of study and earned her degree with strong academic standing. From 1986 until 1994, she worked as a registered nurse at a Houston cancer center. During these years, colleagues described her as quiet, serious, and diligent. There was no public indication of violent tendencies or instability. In 1990, Andrea met Russell "Rusty" Edison Yates in Houston. The two married on April 17, 1993. Rusty worked as an engineer for NASA, earning a stable income, while Andrea continued working as a nurse until the birth of their first child. Their son, Noah Jack Yates, was born in 1994. After Noah's birth, Andrea left her career to become a full-time mother. The couple initially lived in a house in Houston, but later moved into a travel trailer and then a converted bus. Over the years, Andrea gave birth to 4 more children and suffered 1 miscarriage. She homeschooled the children and became increasingly isolated from the outside world. The family did not use babysitters, and childcare responsibilities fell entirely on Andrea. Rusty later admitted that he never changed a diaper and left all child-rearing duties to his wife. As time passed, Andrea became more overtly religious and increasingly withdrawn. The couple adhered to fundamentalist Christian beliefs. They believed that a woman's sins could condemn her children to hell if she did not repent. Andrea internalized this belief deeply, becoming consumed by guilt and fear. She believed she was failing spiritually and morally as a mother. After the birth of her first child, Andrea began experiencing disturbing symptoms. She reported seeing Satan and images of death. She became thin, detached, evasive, and emotionally distant. She struggled with severe depression and began experiencing hallucinations. Her mental health deteriorated rapidly. Though these symptoms were not fully understood or treated at the time, on June 17, 1999, Andrea attempted suicide for the first time by overdosing on pills. She was hospitalized in a psychiatric unit and diagnosed with major depressive disorder. She was prescribed antidepressants upon release, but she did not consistently take them. Over time, she stopped feeding her children properly and reported hallucinations to her husband. Later, Andrea threatened to slit her own throat with a knife and entered a catatonic state. She was hospitalized again and treated with antipsychotic medication and therapy. Doctors warned that future pregnancies could severely endanger her mental health. Despite this, Andrea became increasingly obsessed with religious teachings while caring for her children in the family bus. At the urging of Andrea's family, Rusty purchased a home in late 1999, believing a stable environment would help her recover. For a period, Andrea's mental state appeared to improve. However, in March 2000, she stopped taking her medication after becoming pregnant again. In November 2000, Andrea gave birth to her 5th child, Mary, 4 months later. Andrea's father died suddenly after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. This loss triggered a devastating relapse. Andrea mutilated herself, stopped eating, stopped caring for her children, and refused to speak. She became nearly catatonic once again. After additional brief hospitalizations and treatment with antipsychotic medications, Andrea was discharged. Despite clear warning signs, she was returned to her family's care. 2 days after a meeting with her psychiatrist, on June 20, 2001, Andrea Yates drowned her 5 children in the bathtub of her home. She killed them one by one. After each drowning, she placed the child's body on her bed and covered it with a sheet. Her 4 sons and 1 daughter, Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary, ranged in age from 6 months to 7 years. After the killings, Andrea calmly called the police and requested an officer.
You need an ambulance? No, I need a police officer. Yeah, send an ambulance.
She then called her husband and told him to come home. Andrea later gave a detailed confession, stating she believed she was saving her children from eternal damnation. She believed Satan lived inside her and that her children were already corrupted. She believed their deaths would send them to heaven and that she herself deserved execution. Andrea Yates was charged with 5 counts of capital murder. During her 17-day trial, numerous psychiatrists testified that she was psychotic and not mentally competent at the time of the killings. However, the prosecution presented testimony suggesting she had planned the murders. On March 12, 2002, Andrea was convicted of capital murder for the deaths of 3 of her children. She was sentenced to life in prison and spared the death penalty. The verdict divided the nation. Many believed she needed psychiatric treatment rather than punishment. In 2005, the Texas Court of Appeals overturned her conviction. The court ruled that testimony given by prosecution witness Park Dietz was factually incorrect. He had claimed Andrea was inspired by a Law and Order episode that never existed. The court determined this testimony may have influenced the jury, and a new trial was ordered. On January 9, 2006, Andrea pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. On July 26, 2006, a jury found her not guilty by reason of insanity. She was committed to Kerrville State Hospital in January 2007 for long-term psychiatric treatment. Andrea has remained under state supervision since then. She has been eligible for annual competency hearings but has waived them. The case remains one of the most polarizing in American history. The deaths of the Yates children forced the public to confront difficult questions about mental illness, motherhood, religious extremism, medical responsibility, and systemic failure. Andrea Yates' story is not one of sudden violence, but of years of untreated psychosis, ignored warnings, and a gradual descent into delusion that ended in irreversible tragedy.